Ready, shoot the shit, yo. Jamie Jenks Johnson is I. I'm a photographer, imaging professional, photos, design, arts. I've done it all, basically, from the labs to the education side of things, to being my own photographer, exhibit installer, and all the rest of it. It all comes down to having a good time. Outdoor exhibit is and most importantly, making art accessible. We've gotten to a period of time where it's not as accessible as we usually make it, meaning that a lot of photographers' stuff is starting to look similar because we stay to the traditional white walls, black frames, presentation of photography. This is to put people not only in the location that things are shot in, which means you're directly immersed in the colors, the textures, the movement, the life of what the city of Montreal has to offer. Start off by saying no official vernissage, by saying I'm, as an artist, and most artists have a hard time with vernissages. Reason being is because a lot like what I was saying on the last bit, it's making art inaccessible to certain. I say that because being somebody who's worked in the industry for several years, being somebody who's gone from the highest end vernissages to the lowest end vernissages, they always bring out the same crowd, the same dance. And this is to allow everybody and anybody to come through and make it more of a good time kind of aspect, rather than, hey, look at me, I'm the artist, and don't you want to ask questions and spend time with me. Photography in this city is actually very interesting because you get things that are very contemporary as much as you get things that are very old-fashioned. You will notice my catalog goes from the depths of the subways to the heights of the biggest towers. The fun part about Montreal is exactly that. There's a breath of life here that allows you to really have an interesting and intricate catalog within the same city. That being said, I also started this year a 366 project, meaning an image a day for every day of the year, and therefore have built up quite a catalog, not only of Montreal because I live here, but built up a catalog as to what I'd like to present, and really pushing my boundaries and making sure that I stay current and original in my art form and I don't plateau, which is the fear of most artists. The process and production of the exhibit is unlike any other exhibit I've put together. I went out and got a lot of help from a lot of different individuals. I'll start by explaining the process or processing of the images. I have my father and Joe at Zoom Photo, check them out, zoomphoto.ca, to thank for this. My father's been working with Joe in his little lab that he has there, which actually is growing to be quite a big lab, in doing a lot of production on sports photography, wedding photography, etc., etc., etc. And now that he has the machinery to do so, he'd like to, expand on all of that and look into a little bit more the artistic printing side of photography, where I fall right into place doing things on canvas and things of the such. So I have my father to thank, Joe to thank, but especially my father to thank, because when we're talking about process, we can also look at the process of my growth in photography and where I've been, what I've done. And let's face it, my dad taught me everything I know, especially on the basics, because the basics is how you get to move on from there and leap forward in your imagination, your creativity. Oh, production side of things. Okay, so the production side of things. Let's look at Tamworth, Ontario, north of Kingston, south of Highway 7. Hans and Carolyn's place, Boneco Design, is where I spent the last 2 months building the exhibit. So building the frames, making the actual exhibit pieces themselves. Hans and Carolyn have been outstanding as far as a lot of sharing and that kind of stuff. You should look them up, actually, Boneco Design. You can find them at bon-eco.com. Really interesting way of looking at things, refurbishing stuff of our daily use and making it into beautiful art. But they have this certain energy that they brought forward towards my exhibits. I'll take the magnets as an example. My magnets are usually presented in each one of my exhibits. They're usually only business card size, something that somebody can easily afford and take home to feel part of the exhibit and what they've seen. And this time around, Carolyn convinced me that my art doesn't need framework. That it looks good on its own, and especially that I'm a big fan of printing on glossy paper to get that extra contrast. This allows for something that's so tiny to be presented a little bit larger so that it has a little more space upon those magnetic surfaces that people bring them into their homes. So it allows for a very cool and different way of things that were simply already there but hadn't been thought of yet. Is there anybody else I would like to thank? Of course, I'd like to thank the world for being what it is and me being able to do what I love to do. You know, I can look at my household and I can look at my love, Tara, I can look at her brother Johnny, us all living under the same roof, as much as I can look at my family and everybody who supported me there, whether it be my sister and her family or my mother and father. And I can look at my general community of friends and say thank you. You guys allow the energy that I am able to give to this, and you're also part of the exhibit without really knowing that you're part of the exhibit. It's your positive energy and your good vibes that allow it to go forward. And I think that about covers everybody and anybody, and for those I missed, I still love you. So hope everybody can make it out. And if you can't, send a friend to brag at how they came but you didn't. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side.